Most pitch decks ramble, but with my pitch deck blueprint, yours won't. The 7 slides that close capital are your shortcut to a great deck. Stick with me, and we'll create them right now. If you're raising capital for a private fund or syndication, you already know you need a great pitch deck, but maybe you don't know where to get started. Well, today I'm going to give you a pitch deck blueprint and show you the 7 pitch deck slides that close capital. I'm Jimmy Atkinson, founder of Fund Playbook, and over the past decade, I've personally helped over 100 private funds who have collectively raised over $1 billion in investor capital. And the pattern is crystal clear. Great decks open doors, and sloppy decks slam them shut. In the next few minutes, you're going to get 2 things from me. Number 1, a whiteboard blueprint that explains why each slide exists. And number 2, a ready-to-edit template that you can plug your content into tonight. First, let's map the blueprint, and then I'll share my screen and walk you through the template. Let's roll. And stick around until the end because I'll also show you how to download our free pitch deck template. So first of all, I want to talk about the role of a pitch deck and specifically what a pitch deck does and doesn't do. And I want to put this in context with a very other important document, your private placement memorandum or your PPM. So we're going to inspect what does a deck do and what does a PPM do. So there's a lot of different things that you'll provide to an investor when he or she is ready to take the next step with you. Maybe it'll be the version of the deck that you just walked them through, but maybe also they want to see your offering docs, including your PPM, including your data room, including your subscription docs, okay? Your PPM, your subscription docs, your offering docs, all of that is not what we're covering here today. Those are legal documents. They are not a storytelling tool. Your deck, the purpose of this is to tell your story. Everything else is for legal purposes and onboarding, okay? So those are the 2 differences there. A lot of people get the urge to put as much stuff in their deck as possible, as many terms, as many conditions, as many numbers. You want to keep it simple and you want to tell a story with your deck. Leave all of the legal jargon, all of the complex terms, all of the fine print to your other documents, your offering documents, your subscription agreement, and in particular, your private placement memorandum. Now, your deck should tell your story, but really what's the most important thing, or one of the most important things to tell with your story is you want to be able to answer what every LP wants to know and fast. So what do LPs want? Or what do they want to know, right? Well, they want to know who's the team. They want to know what's the strategy. And they also want to know why now. And they want to know why you. Okay? Everything that your deck does tells a story that drives the answers to these questions. And then, of course, maybe most importantly, is how. How can I take the next step? How can I invest? So now let's talk about the 7 slides. And they are in this order. 1, your title slide or your cover slide. 2, you're going to have your team. Who are you? 3, you want to discuss your market opportunity. Number 4, you're going to discuss your investment strategy, which follows directly from the market opportunity oftentimes. Number 5, your track record and your edge, which goes to why you and why now, right? Number 6, you want a simple fund or deal terms. And 7, and most importantly possibly, and what oftentimes gets left out, is your call to action. How does your potential investor take the next step? So in a minute, I'm actually going to show you our pitch deck template, and I'm going to show you also how to download it. But first, let's go through each of these on the whiteboard here. The title or the cover slide is really just a sharp first impression. You want to share your logo on there, maybe a tagline, maybe the date of the presentation. If you have a rendering or some other image that visually displays what your deal or your syndication is, you just want to splash that on the title slide. Very simple. We'll walk you through examples of that in a minute. Your next slide, you want to focus on your team. Or if it's a one-man show, maybe it's just you as the GP. Who are you? And what we want to see there are photos of faces, headshots, and we want to see a brief bio of everybody. Essentially, who are we? and why trust us. Third is the market opportunity. Why this market, or why this asset class, or why this sector, or why now? And so a lot of people have the urge or the tendency to want to cram a ton of information onto here. Some of you may have written white papers on what your market opportunity is, right? Maybe you've written thousands and thousands of words of the market opportunity. In this story that you tell with your deck, you don't want thousands of words. You want to distill the market opportunity into a few concise bullet points, or maybe one or two big numbers, one or two killer stats that will beat out a block of text in terms of getting attention and interest from potential investors. Okay, then we move on to number 4, the investment strategy. This is the repeatable playbook that turns capital into returns. What is your strategy that you're going to capitalize on? So we know the market opportunity. We know, for instance, a particular area of the country, maybe here in Fort Worth, Texas. What about Fort Worth, Texas makes it a compelling market? What about multifamily? If you have a national multifamily fund, what about multifamily do you like? What about self-storage do you like? What about this particular sector of multifamily? Maybe you're focused on student housing, whatever it is. Okay. And then what is your investment strategy that follows from the market opportunity? So specifically, what do you want to do in Fort Worth, let's say? Your strategy is, hey, we've noticed that this new area is ripe for development. There's new employers coming in. We're capitalizing on this market opportunity by doing this. Or maybe we see self-storage growing. So our strategy to capitalize on that is to roll out self-storage facilities in these locations throughout the country. Whatever your strategy may be, it follows very closely from the market opportunity. Number 5 is your track record and your edge. And what you want to convey here is proof that you have executed this strategy before. And you also want to show, this regards the edge part of this equation, what makes you different? Essentially, number 5 should answer why you, right? Okay. So the first slide is an intro. The second slide is who you are. Third and fourth slides tell what and why now. And then 5 answers the question, why you? Why should we trust you? Why should we give our money to you to execute this strategy? So if you have a track record, if you've already executed deals with this strategy or deals in this sector or market, that's great to highlight there. Who you are, what your edge is, what do you do differently? You know, maybe you have self-storage facilities that always are adjacent to a highway or that are always climate controlled. Or maybe you have some new technology that you're using in your multifamily buildings. Whatever it is, whatever edge you have that differentiates you from the competition, make sure you convey that in this slide number 5. Slide number 6, this is where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. This is where you actually want to set out fund and deal terms. And you can also share some information on fees, projected returns, GP commit, and you want to do it in plain English, and you want to keep it simple too. You might have page upon page upon page in your PPM document that outlines all of the different terms of the deal, and all of the different fees and all of the different projected returns. And maybe you have several pages of a pro forma. You don't want that in this deck. That's for later. That's for after they've requested additional information. That's if somebody asks you specifically, hey, I want to see your pro forma for the next 5-year period or whatever. You follow up with them. In a pitch deck where oftentimes you might only have 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to present it, you want to keep this simple. A few simple terms here. I'll walk you through an example in a moment. And then finally, and this is probably the one that gets forgotten about the most, have a call to action, CTA, call to action. What is the next step that the investor can take? And in fact, sometimes this slide literally has this title, next steps. What are the next steps? You want to get on the phone? Here's how you call us. You want to email? Here's our email address. You want to request access to our data room? Here's how to do that. Give them one or two or three options. And I would say you probably want to preference one of them. Some people like to call, some people like to email, some people want to schedule a time for a Zoom call on your calendar. Give them a few choices, but maybe highlight one of them, which might be your preference. Kind of depends on what your sales funnel looks like after this first pitch presentation to them. And one thing I want to convey is that all of this stuff connects together, right? The team connects to the track record and edge, okay? The market opportunity connects directly to the investment strategy. These together answer a lot of questions about, the 5 W's, right? The who, what, where, when, why, how. I'm sorry, this is the how down here, I should say. But the who, what, where, when, why all get answered right here. And in particular, just to repeat again, the who, the what, the why now, and the why you. There's also going to be some whens and some wheres in there. This also answers a lot of technical questions about projected returns and fees. And then this is your big how. How do I, as the investor, take the next step? So all of these kind of flow. All these first 6 slides should really flow to this number 7 slide, which I view as the most important. This is how you can take the next step with us. So please don't ever forget this last slide. I think it's the most important one, and it's the one that I see even experienced fund managers and deal syndicators forget about more often than not. So that's it. These are the 7 slides. If you skip one of these, the story is going to break. So you want to make sure you include all 7 of these. And by the way, I would say also, these don't literally need to be 7 slides. Like your pitch deck might be 10 slides. It might be 12 slides, but each one of your slides should have some information. So your market opportunity slide, for instance, you might want to break that out into 2 or 3 different slides, depending on how big your deal is. Your investment strategy, depending on how big your deal or your fund is, maybe that gets broken out into 2 or 3 different slides also. I would also encourage you to add pictures, especially in your track record section. Maybe you want to show off some of the beautiful buildings that you've already developed and operated. In the investment strategy, maybe you want to show renderings of the development project that you're working on. Maybe that takes up 3 or 4 slides that you can quickly go through. So it's not literally 7 slides in every single pitch deck, but these are the 7 basics that form the backbone of your pitch deck. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to share my screen and actually look at our pitch deck blueprint, our template that I'm going to show you how to download in a minute as well. Okay, so this is a look at our pitch deck blueprint. It's pretty simple, but it has all 7 of the slides that are crucial for raising capital from investors. This is our title slide. And you'll notice throughout the course of this slide presentation that this is a very, very simple template. We think simple is good. Feel free to dress it up how you want. This is really just an example. But we do have this available as a Google Slides share. So we can share this with you via Google Slides, and we'll also share the PDF version of it with you, as well as the PowerPoint version of it if you want to edit it in PowerPoint or Google Slides, or just have a PDF version. We provide you with all of those, and I'll show you in a moment how to download those resources from our website at fundplaybook.com. So title slide, Acme Fund 1, got a picture of a skyline, pretty simple. One slide I didn't talk about that you'll want to discuss with your attorney is a legal disclosure slide. That oftentimes goes as the second slide, or maybe sometimes just flashed at the very end, even after the call to action. Here's a meet our team slide. And this has just a really simple, you can see pretty faces, and then a name and a title. There's a few other formats you can use here. If your team isn't as big, maybe it just has 1 or 2 or 3 principals. Show them a little bit bigger. And we don't want full bios, right? Your full bio might be on your website, on an about page of your website, or on your LinkedIn page. And it might be a 200-word bio, or a 400-word bio, or an 800-word bio, right? This doesn't need to be your full CV or your full resume or your full bio. Really just your name and your title, maybe 1 or 2 relevant bullet points about you. That's all anybody needs to see. They're going to get to know you and your team throughout the course of the pitch and throughout the course of further conversations with you. Don't overwhelm them with too much information about you at the get-go. It would be my recommendation. Third slide is the market opportunity. So on this slide, again, you want to highlight what is the market opportunity. Here I have 3 different geographic locations where we are investing into: New York City, Rio de Janeiro, and Florence, Italy. This is just one example of how you can highlight different locations that you're investing in. You can also highlight if you're not location specific, maybe you're a national fund, for instance, you might want to highlight here the asset class that you're focused on, whether that's multifamily or hotel or self-storage or some other asset class. You want to talk about that. On your 4th slide here is the investment strategy. And really you just want 2 or 3 big high-level points here. I'll also call back to the whiteboard that I walked through a moment ago when I explained that it doesn't literally need to be 7 slides. It should be this backbone of these 7 main points you want to drive home. But this slide in particular, your investment strategy, can oftentimes stretch into 2 or 3 or more slides, particularly if you have some slides that are just large photos or renderings that you want to show. But the investment strategy, you want 2 or 3 headlines, maybe a couple of bullet points or small paragraphs. That's really it. Track record here, I have this in bullet point form. You want to show what have you done previously that maps to the opportunity that you're presenting today. So for instance, I'm presenting a multifamily in Phoenix, Arizona deal, right? We're building a new apartment building in Phoenix. Well, what have you done in Phoenix, or what have you done in multifamily? You could say, well, I've developed 3 multifamily buildings in the past, or I have experience operating multifamily buildings in the past, or maybe you haven't done multifamily specific or anything, particularly that particular type of development, but you've lived your whole life in Phoenix. You've done real estate for the last 5 or 10 years in Phoenix. Whatever relevant experience you have, and particularly I would say if you're an emerging fund manager, if this is your first time raising capital, I would encourage you, try to think of something you can put in here that you have experience with. And hopefully it's your first time raising capital, but it's not the first time operating a deal. Maybe you've already done some real estate transactions in the past. Maybe you have your broker's license. Maybe you're an agent. Maybe you have some sort of relevant experience. Highlight that however you can, and also include in here your edge. What is it you do a little bit differently? What about your track record differentiates you from a competitor? Number 6, your fund and your deal terms, right? Or I should say fund or deal terms. Sometimes you're offering a fund, maybe sometimes you're just syndicating one deal, but you want to include what's your offering size? How much are you raising in total? If you have a breakdown of equity versus debt, you can do that on this slide too. Minimum investment, your preferred return, your distribution schedule, and your fees. And overall, you'll see this is not some huge pro forma. This is not paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of terms. It's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 big numbers that answer most investors' questions about fees, returns, and minimum investment size. And then finally, this is my favorite one, of course, your call to action slide. What do you want them to do next? Have your contact information on here. Have a way for them to get in touch with you. I've also seen people have QR codes up there where if you scan it with your phone, it takes you straight to your deal room where you can access the offering docs, this pitch deck, a more detailed pro forma and other projections. I've also seen QR codes where you scan and it automatically takes you to your calendar where you can book a call. That's also sometimes helpful. So here I've given potential investors 3 ways to get in touch. You can call us. This is my cell phone number. If you call or text it, I'm going to pick up or I'm going to answer right away. You can email my team here, or if you want to schedule a call, we can get on a Zoom together. I can walk you through any numbers, answer any questions that you have. So that's it. Those are the 7 slides in the deck that can help you raise capital from investors. And just a final tip, capital follows clarity. And again, you want your pitch deck to tell a focused, credible story. And if you do that, you'll earn a second meeting. And that's really the goal of your pitch deck. It's not always to close capital right away, especially if it's your first time interacting with a potential investor. It's not unheard of, but I would say it's uncommon that you're going to get a capital commitment from somebody after a 5-minute pitch meeting. Where these slides help you close capital is in the long run. You set the foundation here with this pitch deck. You set the foundation with what your story is, who you are, what your opportunity is, why now, and why you. You answer those questions and you follow up with that investor over time. This is a great first impression to make. You're going to earn that second meeting with them if you do this right. And then that ends up leading to more nurturing and eventually, hopefully, some sort of capital commitment down the road. But it's not something that happens overnight necessarily. So to quickly recap, great decks earn attention. They answer core questions and they give investors one clear next step to take. And it's not always, again, it's not always, here's how you wire me money, right? It's here's how we can get in touch and you can learn more from me, how we can have another conversation down the road. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching this video about my pitch deck blueprint and the 7 slides that close capital. Are you ready to download the template now? Just head to fundplaybook.com/template to download your pitch deck template and companion guide right now. That's fundplaybook.com/template. And if you liked this video, hit that like button. And if you have a minute, leave us a comment. You can also subscribe to Fund Playbook on YouTube or your favorite podcast listening app so you always get our latest episodes. I release new episodes each week about how to start and raise capital for your own private fund or real estate syndication. Thanks for watching and listening. We'll see you soon.